everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm so pleased to be back with some Glitter Stella glitters for you. It's ages since I've done a nail video, so I've got a new setup here and I think it works a little bit better. So I'm going to show you these lovely new glitters today, but before I get started I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everybody that watched my last video explaining where I've been. So if you haven't watched that already, jump over and have a wee look. I'd love to get your feedback on what sort of videos that you would like to see on this channel, and I hope that that video explains a little bit where I've been. And the other thing I wanted to say is I did pop up a wee quote at the start of this video because, as I said in my last video, I just want to spread some positivity because it's been quite a horrible time for lots of us recently, so I just wanted to like spread a bit of love really. So I hope that you like that, and if you do like that, that's something that I'll continue to do. So what glitters have we got today? We have got fruit salad, which is a dot mix. We've got these neon hearts, which, as you know, Glitter Stella do loads and loads of different hearts, and I absolutely love them. So I'm really excited to give these a try. We've got these autumn flowers, which are really interesting colours. So I'm interested to see how they show up on the nail. And then we've got Shrek Swamp, which again is another really interesting colour, so we'll see how that shows up as well. So I've got some tips set up here for you. I'm just going to be using some clear tips. I might pop a wee colour on some of these, I might just do them clear, and I thought I would see what maybe fruit salad looks like with a matte top coat as well. So that's what I'm going to show you today. So let me get my bits together and we'll get started. So I'm going to start with fruit salad. I'm just going to decant some of it into this little triangle tray. You have to excuse me if you can hear my wee dogs, they're running around in the background. So that's fruit salad there. You can see it's really bright. This is great for summer. This is a beautiful, you know, and obviously we can't go to festivals and stuff right now, but that would be fab for a festival. It's just beautiful. So I'm going to actually do it on clear, and I'm going to do two with this so that you can see it with a normal top coat, like a non-wipe shiny top coat, and a matte top coat. So I'm going to use Halo today, so this is Halo's base coat, and this is what I'm going to use for applying my glitters. Now obviously I'm working on tips. If you were working on a client, you would probably want to go in with your base coats, and then obviously if you were using a colour, and then do your colour coats, cure that, and then pop another layer of base coat on for your glitter. There are obviously loads of different ways that you can use this glitter. You can use acrylic, you can use builder gel. We might use that later in this video, but for today's purposes I just want to show you how beautiful these glitters are. So I'm going to work with my gel polish. So I'm just going to do two. So you don't want a too thick layer, but you do want enough so that the glitter's going to sit into it. So we're going to do two of these. And then I'm just going to grab a brush so that we can apply this. So just make my brush a wee bit sticky, and then just start picking up the glitters. Now obviously you could put these in a particular order. If you wanted to be really intricate about it, you could use a dotting tool. You could pick out different size dots, but I just want to coat the full nails with glitter. So that's what I'm going to do. So once I've got kind of the full nail covered, I'm not worried if I've got a few gaps that are clear, because that can actually be really nice effect. So if you're doing a nail and this is your nail bed and this is your clear section, it's sometimes really nice to have a bit of clear behind there. Obviously if you prefer a colour, like I said before, you could pop a colour behind that. So I'm just moving these around to make sure I'm happy with the placement of them all, because obviously we haven't cured this yet. So we can keep playing with it a little bit until we're happy with it. So I'm quite happy with that one. So I'm going to do this one as well off camera because you've already seen me do one. And then I'll pop those in my lamp for a 30-second cure, and then I'll come back and encapsulate them. So these have now been cured in the lamp for 30 seconds. Now your cure time will depend on the strength of your lamp. It will also depend on the product that you're using. So it's good to make sure you check with the manufacturer and, you know, play around with your lamp and see what works for you. But as you can see, none of these are moving now, so that's fine. They're cured and good to go. I am just going to make sure that there's no loose ones that are going to get in the way when I'm encapsulating. I'm so sorry, that's my dog's toy. It's like a wee monkey thing or something. So they're good to go and ready to be encapsulated. So there's a couple of different ways we can encapsulate this, and as you can see we have got a few raised glitters there, so we do want to make sure it's encapsulated really well. So you can go back in with another layer of base coat followed by top coat, and then probably buff over and make sure it's nice and smooth before you apply another top coat. You could also use builder gel here, and then you could probably just go in with your builder gel, wipe off the sticky layer, smooth it over with a buffing block, and then go in with your top coat. So what I'm actually going to do today is use my base coat again. So I'm going to encapsulate this with my base coat. I'm then going to go over with some top coat, smooth it over with a buffing block, and make sure that I'm happy before I apply my final top coat. So I've got a nice layer of base coat on there now to start encapsulating those, and you can see it's starting to smooth out already. So I'm going to pop that back in the lamp, and then I'll come back in with my top coat. So now that I've cured that layer of base coat, I'm going to go in with top coat. This is just normal top coat I do normally use and buy non-white, but I picked this up by accident, so I need to use it up. Halo also do a thick top coat, which is really good for encapsulating glitters as well, because obviously it's a thicker viscosity and it just encapsulates those glitters a little bit more than the runnier top coats or base coats. So I'm going to do a nice thick layer of the top coat, making sure it's not too thick so it cures fully in the lamp. Once I've done that, I'm going to pop it into my lamp for a full cure of 60 seconds. As I say, check with your product, check with your lamp before you decide what cures you should be doing. I'm not too worried about this nipping over the edges here because it's a tip. Now obviously if I was working on a human client, I would want to make sure I was being a little bit more careful not to get that on the skin, sidewalls, that kind of thing. So now that I've done my top coat, I'm going to pop that in the lamp again for 60 seconds and then we'll do some buffing. So these have been cured now, so I'm going to wipe off that sticky layer. I'm going to use a buffing block to buff over and make sure it's nice and smooth, and then I'm going to re-go over with a shiny top coat for one of them and a matte top coat for the other one to show you what it's like matte. So I've buffed these over now. I'm just going to use some alcohol to make sure there's no dust on there. And then, like I say, I'm going to do a shiny top coat on one and a matte top coat on the other one so that you can see the difference between the two. Now I'm actually using a Premier Gel matte top coat today because I can't put my hands on my Halo one. But if you were working on a client, I would also always suggest sticking to the same system because those products are designed to work together. But obviously I'm just working on a plastic tip, so I don't need to panic too much about that. So that's those two nails finished, and as you can see there's a huge difference between using a shiny top coat and a matte top coat. It just gives a different effect on the glitter, but you can still see the shine. It's just the way the light catches it that's slightly different. So that's those two finished, and I'm going to move on to the next one to show you. So the next one I'm going to show you is Shrek's Swamp, and as you can see this is sort of like almost like a chameleon effect. It's like gold and green. So what I'm actually going to do on this nail is going to paint half of it black and leave half of it clear so you can see the different effect. Let's pour this in here. That's really pretty, isn't it? You can see the flecks of green and gold in that. So I'm going to do half black and half clear so that you can see the difference. So I've painted that half black, and obviously it's not a very straight line. If you were doing it on a client, I would suggest using a striper brush to do your line, but just for the purposes of me showing you this glitter, I've just done a rough line. And I'm going to use my base coat again to apply this glitter. So I'm just going to put a nice layer of my base coat on. And then for this one, I'm actually going to use a different method of application. I'm so sorry about that dog toy, but my dog Alex never plays with toys. So when he does play with them, I'm kind of reluctant to take it off them. So I'm really sorry if that's annoying anybody. So we've got our glitter, and I'm just going to use this brush, which is just a basic makeup brush. I think it's actually from the pound shop, if I'm being honest. I just pick up these cheap ones for working with my glitter and dusting off. And I'm just going to tap it over the top, and I'm going to try and catch the excess in my dish underneath, but you always are going to get a little bit of flyaway. And then I'm just going to tap any excess off back into the dish. Make sure that nothing's sticking out, and then I'm going to pop that into my lamp. Just try and get that under light a bit more. So you can see on the clear side, the gold shows up more, and then on this black side, you see more of the green coming through. But when you turn it, you see more gold on the black and more green on the other side. So it just depends which way the light hits it. But it's a beautiful glitter. So we'll get that cured and top coated. So that's now been cured in the lamp with the base coat on. I'm just trying to get that light over a little bit more so you can see a bit better. And you can see just depending which way the light catches it is whether it shows up like that bronzy gold colour or the green. And this is a smaller glitter, so as you can see there's not really as much sticking up. So you might not need to buff that. It's really just a case of see how it goes. So I'm going to do exactly the same as did last time. I'm going to apply another layer of base coat and then I'm going to go over with my top coat. So this nail's now been encapsulated, and I'm just doing a small, so this is actually a 220-280 buffer file, so it's not quite as harsh as the 100 grit block. So because this is not a big chunky glitter, so I just want to make sure it's nice and smooth. But while I was doing it, I just wanted to show you, this is obviously matte because it's not been shiny top coated, and look at the difference again. So whether you use a matte finish or a shiny top coat, these glitters are just stunning, and you can see the difference there to using it on a black background or using it on a clear. And of course you could use this on any colour that you wanted to, but I just wanted to show you the matte one before I put on a shiny top coat. So with top coat, and there it is shiny. You can see the different effects. So we'll get that in the lamp for 60 seconds, then we'll move on to the next one. The next one that we're going to do is these beautiful neon hearts, and I've already poured them into the wee dish. You can see you've got loads of different colours in there again. A great for summer. These are fab, and these are more like what I call like a papery glitter rather than a shiny glitter, but they're absolutely beautiful. Now you could definitely do these on a clear, but because we've already done a couple of clear ones, I'm actually going to use Snapdragon, which is kind of like a peachy nude, just because I don't want to take away from these colours, but I do want to show you with a colour. So I'm going to pop that straight onto my tip, and the reason I can do that, and I get asked this all the time, is why do I not use base coat on these tips? And I think I've explained it before, but if you are working on an artificial nail, so maybe a finished acrylic nail or a finished gel nail, and then you're using gel polish, you don't need to use a base coat, okay? You can just go straight onto the nail, so that's why I don't use base coat. If I was working on natural nails, I would 100% go with a base coat first, but today we're just working on these tips. So I'm just going to put down a nice thin layer of Snapdragon, get that in the lamp and cured, 2 layers of it, and then I'll come back and show you the glitter. So I'm going to use my base coat for applying these again. So I've done 2 coats of my colour and they're nicely cured. So I'm just going to put down a nice layer of base coat again, and for this glitter I'm going to use a dotting tool to pick it up and apply it, just so that I can decide where I'm placing the glitters a little bit more easily. So I've got a dotting tool, I'm just using the skinny end and just get that a little bit sticky, and then I can start picking up hearts and placing them where I want to. Now with glitters like this, obviously you've got to bear in mind the curve of the nail. So I've got 2 there. You want to make sure they're sitting nice and flat, which is why I prefer with glitters like this just to pick them up and place them. So you could do a full nail of this, you could do just like a sort of like a glitter drag, but I'm just going to apply the glitters on so that you can see what they're like. And I'm just going to dot them all over the place and try and space out the colours that I'm using, so not try and put 2 colours the same together. I'm also trying to change the direction so that it's, you know, it's really random the way that I'm placing these glitters, and you can see already that that's coming nicely together. So I've placed all those glitters onto the nail now. I'm quite happy with the placement. I probably could have tucked one more in there, but I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to pop that in my lamp now for 30 seconds to cure. So I have gone back over that with base coat, and then I've gone over it again with my top coat. And as you can see, it's dead smooth and it's a really nice finish. But just because I want to be able to show you, I'm just going to give this a good wipe and find my buffer. I want to show you with this one as well what it would be like. So let me just do a light buff over. And with delicate glitters like this, I would always use, you know, a lighter buffing block so that you don't eat into that top coat or whatever you've encapsulated it with. So I've just done a really quick light buff over so you can see with it matte, it's lovely as well. And because this isn't a shiny glitter, it really pops nicely when it's matte. So that's that one, and I've just got one more left to show you, so I'll get that for you now. So the last one I have to show you today is Autumn Flowers, and this is I've left this one to last because it's probably the most complicated out of the three. So as you can see, these are bigger glitters. Let me see if I can pick one up. These are bigger glitters, but they are quite flexible, so you should be able to carve them to the nail. So because we've got some different colours in here, I'm trying to decide what colour to do the background. I don't want to do black because we've got some black ones in there. So what shall we do? So I think I'm actually just going to work on the clear again so you can see all the different colours. And if you look really closely in here, you can see there's some lilac tones, there's obviously the black, there's the greeny ones. So if you wanted to just use the purpley ones, you could just pick those out. If you just wanted to use the black, you could just pick those out. So it's a really good glitter. So I'm just going to do it on the clear. So the same as I did last time, I'm going to use my base coat to stick my glitters down. And I think I'm going to use my dotting tool for this one as well. Just as it's a chunkier glitter, it'll be a bit easier to pick up and place. So get my base coat on there. And as I say, I'm not being overly careful because I'm not working on a client. These are plastic tips. It doesn't matter if I go over the edge. If I was working on a client, obviously I would be a lot more careful. So I'm just using my dotting tool again to pick these up and just randomly place them over the nail. So I'm actually quite pleasantly surprised with how they sit into nail. With chunkier glitters like this, it can be a little bit more difficult, but they actually are really flexible and sit to the nail quite nicely. So I've cured that now, and I'm quite pleasantly surprised with how these have sat into that base coat, because normally with a chunkier glitter you might want to use something a bit thicker, but just for the purposes of this video I was using base coat, and as you can see they've sat in there quite nicely. They're not too raised at all. So I'm going to do exactly the same as I have been doing. I'm going to go back over with base coat and top coat. That definitely will need a buffing, so I'll do that now, and then I'll show you what it's like once I've done that. So I've done my base coat and my top coat on that now. And as you can see, it is quite smooth. There's one little bump at the back here that I'm going to need to buff out. I am going to use my 100 grit buffing block. See, I should do voiceovers, shouldn't I, all the time, because then I don't make mistakes, but I just thought it would be a bit easier today just to talk you guys through it as I did it. So I'm going to use this wee 100 grit buffing block just to buff that over. And again, I want to be careful that I don't eat in to the encapsulation that I've done and ruin any of the glitters. So it's just really this guy at the back that I need to make sure is nice and smooth. And I'm just checking all the time to make sure that I'm not eating in to the glitter, I'm not buffing too far. Obviously, when you've got a client like this, you'll be turning from left to right, you'll be looking up and down the nail and using your fingers to find out where lumps and bumps are, and I think that's something that's really important, you know. And sometimes even if you close your eyes, you'll feel them a bit better, so you can feel where you need to buff a little bit more and make sure that's nice and smooth. But that's coming together now. And just going to wipe over with alcohol so you can actually see this again as a matte. You can just see how, you know, how nicely these glitters catch the light as a matte as well. So I am going to put a shiny top coat on this so you can see it as well, but I just thought I would show you that matte. How pretty is that? That's really, really nice. So I'm going to go over now with my shiny top coat, get that in the lamp and finish this off, and then that'll be us done, guys, and I'll show you the finished result. So that's all of those nails finished, guys, and as you can see, they're absolutely beautiful. So obviously we left this one matte so I could show you the difference between the two, and if you've watched the video all the way through, then you'll have seen the difference in this matte and also this one. But I've just popped a shiny top coat on that again to show you the finished result. So we've got Neon Hearts, Shrek Swamp, Fruit Salad, and then Autumn Flowers. And I must say, I wasn't like, when I saw this in the packet, I thought, oh, I don't know how much I would use that, but that's actually a really beautiful glitter. And again, if you put these colours on top of different colours, they're going to look different again. So I hope that's been helpful for you today and that you've enjoyed the video. Like I say, I'm going to try and get much more videos up than I have been. And as I said before, if you haven't watched my previous video, the last one I popped up, then please pop over and watch that, because I would love to hear your feedback on what sort of videos you would want, and so you can understand where I've been for the last couple of months. So I'm going to leave that with you today, guys, and I hope it's been helpful and useful and that you found it informative. There are loads of videos on my channel about how to use glitter, so I haven't gone into great detail about how to use them. But if you do have any questions, you can hit me up on my social medias. I'll post them all down below, as I always do. And of course, you can leave me a comment in the comment section. So I hope everybody's having a great day and that you're all well, and I'll see you again soon in the next one.